Hey guys, welcome back to Ashare Books. I'm here today to do some fall recommendations. So as you might know, I am not a huge fan of like super scary or super creepy books, but there are a certain type of book I really like reading in the fall, and that's a book that's just kind of creepy, but not too much that I can't sleep at night. And also just one that has a really interesting like plot or premise, or one that's really like atmospheric. So I picked a few that I read last fall and then some that I've read in previous years in the fall that I'm going to recommend to you guys today. So hopefully you guys can find maybe something new to pick up this fall season. The first one is Haunting the Deep by Adriana Mather. So this is actually book 2 in the How to Hang a Witch, I guess, duology, I would call it, but I don't have a copy of the first one. So the first book basically follows our main character, who is related to Cotton Mather. And if you don't know, he was kind of like a big figurehead during the Salem witch trials. And so because of this, she kind of has just some weird stuff going on in her town. This is such a cool plot. It really has a lot to do with witches and curses, and it just had that kind of creepy fall vibe that really was awesome. So if you like Salem, if you like to read things about witches, definitely pick that one up. This one has to do with kind of a haunting of the Titanic, and it was really interesting. I just really enjoyed both of these. Her writing was fantastic. It just really gave you that vibe of kind of creepy and kind of just you want to curl up with a warm blanket and read it. It's also a small kind of romance storyline during both of these as well, so that was really cute to read. These are YA, and so I'm always looking for something different to read YA wise, and I just really enjoyed these last year and I highly recommend. The second one I want to recommend is Till Death by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I read this one last year as well, and I really enjoyed it. So this one I put in because it definitely has that kind of creepy vibe because it follows a killer. Basically, our main character, Sasha, was abducted when she was younger by this man. I believe he was a serial killer. I just can't remember if he was a serial killer or just abducted her, but I think it was more than just her. And she got away. So she was one of the only, I think the only person who got away from this horrible person. So she moved away from this town. Obviously it had a lot of bad memories, and she kind of tried to move on with her life. So now it's about 10 years later. She's in her I think mid to late 20s, and she comes home to help her mom, who runs a hotel bed and breakfast. And basically as soon as she gets back to town, all of these really bad things start happening to girls that are very similar to what was happening when she was taken. And obviously that would be kind of like your worst nightmare come to life. So this also is definitely more of a romantic suspense because it does have a really strong romance storyline as well. Basically kind of her old flame in a way from before when she was taken, because she was taken when she was a teenager, is back, and he still lives in the town, and he is a cop now. So he's kind of looking into all these murders and things that are going on, and they're kind of working together, but I just really enjoyed this. I don't know why, but anything with the serial killer plot line, while fully creepy, also really intrigues me in a way. I think it's just because I like getting inside people's minds and finding out the why. So yeah, if you haven't read this, I definitely recommend this. I love Jennifer Armentrout's work, and honestly I love reading all her stuff in the fall because she does paranormal really well as well. And so if you haven't read her paranormal stuff, go pick that up as well. But this one is, not paranormal at all, but it is just a really good kind of murder mystery slash romance, and I kind of really want to reread it now that I'm talking about it because I don't remember every detail, so I think I could still find it pleasant. Next one I want to recommend is one I recently talked about, and that is Phantom Evil by Heather Graham. But really this whole series, the Crew of Hunters series, I want to recommend because I just think it's perfect for this time of year. Basically, the Crew of Hunters is a crew of people who was created by the government to kind of come in anytime there's something weird or kind of paranormal that has to do with a crime. And they are, in this book, sent in to New Orleans to this house that has a really bad history. The house is apparently haunted. It's had a serial killer do a lot of killing in it, but right now a senator owned it. It looks like she committed suicide. He says no way she did that. So the crew's kind of brought in to say, was it something paranormal? Was it just suicide? Not that it's just suicide, but was it just normal causes that did it? I really enjoyed this one. I also read one later in the series, and this series does a really good job of having it be part like a contemporary romance and part like a mystery paranormal. Has a little bit of everything, and I think she does really well like mixing those genres. So if you're looking for something that's a little creepy with like some ghosts and stuff, but also has the romance storyline in there, I really enjoyed the series. Next one I want to recommend is a fan favorite from last year of mine, and that is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So I know I talked about this one a lot last year, but I haven't mentioned it recently too much, so I thought I'd bring it up because this just fits the fall vibes for me really well, and I read it last fall. I read the whole series. This one is the first one, and basically this follows a group of teenagers that are recruited by I believe it's the FBI, right? I think it's the FBI, for being natural. And basically naturals mean they have some kind of natural ability that helps them to kind of read people. So each person or a teenager kind of has a different ability that they can use to help them find these killers. And basically the tagline has always been like Criminal Minds but YA, and I do think that's really accurate, and that's what drew me in, and I can't suggest this series enough to people. It's such a good YA mystery, but I just think it's so much more than just like a YA book. I loved this. The characters were fantastic. You know, because it has to do with the serial killer, basically each book in the series kind of has like a small arc, but then there's also like an overarching arc, also like an overlaying arc over the whole series that you don't kind of find out the conclusion as to the last book, which I thought was done really well because it's not completely leaving you hanging, but it's also wanting you to come back for more. So if you like things like Criminal Minds and you like, you know, kind of creepy things, definitely check the series out. There is also a small romance in this as well, which I thought was done quite well in a way that didn't take over the story, but it was enough for kind of character growth and development, and I just really love this series. So she has a new book coming out in November, Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I'm very excited to read that as well. And the last book that I want to suggest is Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter. So I read the series a couple of years ago, so I don't remember the entire plot line, but I can tell you this was one of the YA series that I just plowed my way through. I read it super fast, and I just thought it was such a fun take on Alice in Wonderland. And I will preface this by saying, to me, it didn't seem that similar to Alice in Wonderland, if we're being honest. There was a few, like I think some of the names were the same and like a few plot points that came around to it, but to me it was just a really fun kind of supernatural paranormal series, basically with zombies. Basically, Alice grew up thinking her father was kind of mad. He's always had all these kind of thoughts, and he's said all these things about these bad things that are going on, but people thought he was kind of crazy. And so all of a sudden she's finding out maybe her dad wasn't so crazy after all, and maybe some of these bad things actually are real. You meet the other, our other main character that are kind of kick butt, and they are kind of like zombie slayers, I guess you would say. It sounds really corny, but I just thoroughly enjoyed this book. I love Gina Showalter. I've read a lot of her adult stuff as well, but this one is so much fun. If you want like a really fun YA series that just has some like fun paranormal aspects to it, and also a really nice love story, definitely pick this series up. I just think it's so much fun, and the cover is really cute. Alright guys, so those are my fall recommendations for this year. Definitely let me know if you read any of these, or if you have any suggestions for me to books that are kind of similar to these or have that kind of paranormal like mystery aspect to them. Definitely let me know, because I'm always on the lookout for more, especially YA. For some reason I feel like I read a lot of YA in the fall. Don't know why, but anyways, let me know any suggestions you have. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!